Hey, what's up, everybody? Good morning, and welcome to another edition of Real Stories of Success. We've got a very, very special guest in studio with us today. I am beyond excited to unbox her story. She has an amazing one that stems a few decades in the real estate business, and her experience is amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure most of you guys already know Angie Turley. We're so excited to have you here. If you don't know Angie Turley, top 10 LOs in the state, according to Scotsman's Guide, top 10 in the country for Homes for Heroes, and then affiliate MyBor of the year pretty recently too. So gosh, those accolades, we love it.
So Angie, let's kind of start at the very beginning, if you don't mind. You've been in the real estate. We were actually talking a little bit before the show. You've been in the real estate business since they used books to look for houses and before any of this crazy technology kind of took over the world. So let's start at the beginning. I'd love to just kind of hear what got you into this business. Tell us about those early days getting started.
So it was June of 1993, and a pastor at our church needed an administrative assistant on the weekends, 9 to 4 Saturday, 1 to 4 on Sunday, because they needed realtors to come pick keys up and then drop them back off. So that's how I started. $3.25 an hour is what I made, and I worked 10 hours a week.
I want everybody to hover right there just a quick second. So what she literally just said is you didn't just go and walk up to a house and go show it on a 2-hour notice. You had to go pick up the keys and literally take them back to the other agent's office just to show one house.
Yeah, we had houses that our office was in Oak Landon, and we would have houses on the far west side. They would have to drive an hour to pick up a key from us and then drive an hour back to drop it back off.
That has changed just a little bit here recently.
I think your 325's changed just a little bit too.
And $3.25 an hour, right.
So tell us about some of those early steps. And, obviously you got into the business, but what really, helped you decide, yeah, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to make my life's work and really make this happen for you and your family?
So it was a total chain. I worked at Real Estate Norton for 6 years, from the time I was in high school through my first year of college. And then Carpenter Realtors had a full-time position open up. So I went to work there and as an admin assistant and just helping the realtors and watching what they did on a day-to-day basis. And then from there, it just kept going and furthering along.
Very cool.
Who are some of the people there in those early years that you kind of look to that shaped who Angie is today? Who are some of those influencers?
Definitely Tom Prahl. He was definitely a good one. The CEO, owner of Carpenter Realtors, the founder. He helped direct me and say, hey, you need to do this and this. I mean, I was young and dumb, and he helped definitely shape who I am today.
Give us an example of that. So, obviously being around, when we sit and talk to people that have achieved massive levels of success, oftentimes, some of the parallels in their stories are there's always kind of a mentor. There's somebody that takes them under their wing and helps them discover that aha moment. What were maybe one or two of those aha moments for you that kind of made you realize you can do this, and not only do this, but do this at an exceedingly high level?
Well, and that would have had to have been Marilyn Williams at the Carpenter Broad Ripple office. She basically pulled me to the side when I was 20 years old and said, look, get it together, get to work on time. You have success that we see it. Just make sure you're here and present and get it together.
That's huge. So literally just making sure that you show up every day, do your best every day.
Exactly.
And that started, I would imagine, just the chain of events that helped unfold what is today.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You're probably one of the most motivated people I've ever met. I get the privilege of seeing you quite often, right? We trade ideas and we do a lot of stuff together, and it's been great for me the past year. So I want to kind of share that out with the audience a little bit. Okay. So one of my favorite things about you, and it sounds so simple and that everybody could do, but no one really takes the time. You really deep dive into the community that you're at. Walk us through, give us examples. I'd like to share some of the examples that you do, but what are some of those things that you're doing to really deep dive into the community that you're at?
Well, like in Mooresville, where our office is at now, we're literally on the corner. So when they have the Old Settlers Parade or the Homecoming Parade, they have to walk by our office. So we are out there and we're present. We are in the parade with the car with our magnets on the side, handing candy out to kids. We're a block from the high school. We just sponsored all of the condiment stands for the high school football fields. So whatever we can do to be present and be in the community. We go to attend golf outings. Whatever we can do to be there, we are.
Yeah, I love that. And so to kind of go a little bit further into that, I mean, you're talking about things that people just don't necessarily think about, right? They might might go to the My Board meetings, but they don't think about going to the high school football game, right? Or they don't, you go to all the golf outings. I swear this summer you were probably in a golf outing like twice a week or so. And it had nothing to do with the real estate industry necessarily. It was a Mooresville thing or maybe a Southern.
A chamber thing.
Yeah. How many people are even in Mooresville?
A couple thousand, maybe.
Okay, so I just want everyone to realize, so your numbers there, I mean, you're doing over 300 units, and there's about 1,000, 2,000 people in your community. That should give everybody motivation out there.
That's insane because, I mean, truly what you've done, I mean, so many people in this industry, and I mean, Angie, your story inspires me because so many people just like to throw money at this new technology. They want to go, oh, I'm going to go do this with this real estate agent, and they do it all once, but you do it, like Austin just said, every single day. This is part of your core identity and how you build your business. It looks like to me is you're supporting the people within the community. You're doing things beyond just, hey, let's go buy some leads on Zillow or let's go run this Facebook ad. You're doing the old school rubber meets the road, sitting down with people and having real world conversations, and you're doing that consistently every single day, it seems like. What's that look like? Because, how do you go to 2 golf outings a week and then still have time to do everything else? I mean, how do you fit that into your day? How do you decide, okay, we're going to go do this event, we're going to go do this event, we're going to go support this cause? How do you and your team do that? Walk us through that.
It's just really about being organized and being timely and, literally, you should see my calendar. It's crazy, but everything is booked out and it's time blocking. When I get back to the office, I spend an hour on emails, then I spend an hour on phone calls. So it's just literally time blocking and being organized and lots of checklists.
I hope somebody just listened to that and made a big note because that time blocking dynamic is something so few people do, and the impact of doing it consistently over even just a week, let alone a course of a career, I would imagine just changes everything.
It really does. I mean, we even have a checklist for golf outings. So one of my assistants knows what to pack for what I need.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah. That's a process, right?
It really is.
We've talked about that a lot on this podcast, is that the top producers, you've got a process. If A happens, that means B is the next step, right? And so if you guys out there don't have a process, huge thing that happened in my business was getting that process down and tweaking that process all the time. So.
And another thing about all of our events that we attend, especially golf outings, is we capture information when we go. So
tell us about that. I want to pause you right there.
I do love
because
this.
This is the golden nugget that I think so many people leave out is they go do these things and then they have great conversations and that's it. That's the end of it. There's no follow up. There's no additional communication. And the golden sales is always in the follow up. Very few people buy something the very first time you talk to them. So how do you take that email and use that to stay in front of them, to build rapport, and ultimately earn that client's
It's not
business?
just the email, it's the mailing address too. So we always give away something of value. Usually we give away a Yeti cooler, $200. Who doesn't want a free Yeti?
Heck yeah.
So they'll sign up, give us their name, phone number, email address, mailing address. We will mail them within a week after the event and tell them who won the Yeti so they know who from their event actually won. Then they get put into our CRM, so they get a drip campaign. They get something from us once a month. They also go on our mailing list, which we mail out 6 times a year, something of value. And then they also get put in HomeBot, which is a program that we have.
Which just keeps you, again, in front of your people with something of value every month. Yeah, I've started using that as well, and it's an amazing tool.
It really is.
You've heard me talk about it 1,000 times, right? I love that thing. So, yeah.
And like when we mail out our follow-ups, they're all handwritten. They're not labels. And they also go and we send them in green envelopes. So it's not just the normal white. It's something that sticks out. We also mail birthday cards to our past customers with dollar lottery tickets in them. And we make sure those are bright colored envelopes as well. They're bright yellow or bright pink, something that sticks out. And those are all handwritten as well.
I want to steal that idea. I love that one.
How many referrals do you think you get? So let's talk about that percentage-wise, right? Out of your 300 plus units a year, how many are coming from, just a past client?
At least 40 to 45%.
That is crazy. I hope everyone really takes that down. I mean, because most of us as loan officers really depend on our referral partners, and we love our referral partners, right?
We do.
But I would say, I bet most people's business plan is 90%, right? And you're almost 50-50.
Yeah.
Or, that's awesome. That is great. So you can see that those type of activities go a really long way.
They really do.
Yeah.
What kind of taking a step in a slightly different direction here? You've done some absolutely amazing work. You've accomplished so much. What about some of the challenges? The path of success. on Instagram, everybody's path is like right here to right here. Everything went perfect, right?
Right.
But I think we can all probably appreciate that's not the case. The path of success is usually a couple spirals here and there. You learn a lesson, and then finally you get to the point where you're trying to go. Tell us about that. What were maybe a couple of the setbacks or maybe really strong learning opportunities that you've had over the course of the last maybe 10 years of your real estate career?
Definitely different companies. Different companies have different programs, different, avenues that you have to take. And one company that I worked for actually came in and shut the doors in the middle of the night. And so then you're like, wow, what happens to all of our loans? And so, you have to, and then there's also challenges with your team, staff. Sometimes that happens as well, but you just have to, roll through it, and every day is new, and just keep going.
So take that right there. You just said that literally a company you were with in the past just immediately just shut the doors one night, no notice, didn't tell anybody.
Right.
That's, I would imagine for a lot of people in this industry, that would be a setback that perhaps some people wouldn't recover from, because it would just destroy their confidence. It would destroy, well, why, what am I even fighting for here if the company just shut down?
Right.
How'd you work through a dynamic like that? Because that's huge.
We found another company that took us on for our whole team, and we literally within a week had every loan back in process. Again, you just have to keep moving forward.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that, and I hope you see that, because I see that from you all the time is there'll be a setback, and there has been, right?
Yeah.
And there will be more in the future, but you just keep rolling. And I think that's where some people will let those things get them down and not be, and paralyze them, right? And not be able to move on to the next thing. So another thing I wanted the audience to be aware of is how good you are on social media. Okay. So everybody out there says, all right, social media this, social media that, but you really live it, right? You're on pretty much every platform I've ever seen.
Right.
And actually, Ryan, you're probably one of the best at this too. I'm sandwiched between two awesome social media people. But kind of tell us your game plan on that. What do you go into every day? Is this part of your process? Is this something you just kind of wing? What does that look like?
I do. I have it on my calendar every day. There's a post for Facebook, 9 a.m. every single day. And again, it goes back to time blocking and consistency. And we do more personal than business, just because when you make that connection with customers for life, I run into people at the grocery store. They're like, hey, Kimmy's getting so big. And I'm like, hey, I don't know who you are. But great. Yeah. Because we friend every
You're Mooresville famous. Yeah.
Right. We friend every customer that we have just to make that. And again, it's making that connection with them and keeping them as customers for life. And then then we'll throw in, something business once or twice a week, but most of it's personal.
So you're probably 80-20, you think, somewhere in that neighborhood? That's I think that's a huge takeaway, right?
I think it's so important because people don't, there's so many people that do loans, right? There's so many people that sell anything in any industry.
Right.
So how do you differentiate yourself? And I think truly people, as much as social media is dominant in so many people's lives now, I think there's still a huge need to feel connected, to know the people that, you are following. I know there's certain people that I follow and there's certain people I don't follow anymore because I want to get somewhere. I want to be inspired by what this person's doing. And you really have to let people into your world in order to create that engagement, I found. And the more real I've been on social media, the more I found I'm attracting people to me that I want to work with, whether it be clients, whether it be other, real estate agents, or hell, even doing things like this, because the more you're around and you're putting out what you want, the more good stuff comes back to you. I just about cussed right there, Jason. So unbox that for us a little bit. So I think so many people get caught up in the details of what Austin said, but this show is all about providing a practical, actionable takeaway. So when you say 80% personal, what's that mean? What are maybe 2 or 3 posts that you would do over the course of a month or a week that are personally related?
A lot has to do with my kids. Or, the dogs, just, again, making yourself relatable to people out there. And not being negative, because there's a lot of negativity on social media, and just always trying to be positive and just post, positive things that make people happy. Who doesn't want to see rainbows and puppy dogs in their newsfeed?
It blows me away, right? Some of the negative stuff that you see from people in our industry. They are going after that same client that we are, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Or the political stuff.
Yeah, and you have to stay away from that too. No political, no religion. Yeah.
Not so much.
Right.
Not so much. Austin, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no. You go.
Well, I was going to kind of ask you, you're somebody that is, again, Angie, achieved a strong amount of success year over year over year over year. And that doesn't happen by accident. And I've seen, and I was this person myself at one point in my career, and I've seen this time and time again where agents will have a good 2 or 3 year run, and then they get comfortable.
Yeah.
And then they take the foot off the gas a little bit, and they start kind of living life, just a little more laissez-faire versus the intentional way that it seems like you are so deliberate about every single day. So what keeps you motivated to really keep that, pedal down, if you will, and just keep growing year over year over year?
The first and foremost is, again, family. My kids, I want to make sure that they have things that I didn't have growing up, to be able to take them on vacations, to be able to go to college and not have to worry about student loans. And then just, again, being present. And I love being in the community. Like, I truly love it.
It shows.
I do.
I mean,
in doing the golf outings and stuff, and like you said, getting comfortable, like my assistants were like, you're really doing like 35 golf outings this summer? Yeah, we are, because we have to be out there. You have to be present all the time, especially if we want to keep growing.
Without a doubt.
Real estate's pretty demanding, right? We all know that.
Right.
We know that you can't turn your phone off, and you're still answering phone calls at 9 o'clock at night. And this might be a loaded question, but for those that don't know you, right, you've got so many other things happening, right? We talked about family, and you're involved in like school stuff for the kids, and I'm not talking just taking your kids to school, like on boards, and you also do all kinds of volunteer work and police and fire and all this.
In the political board in my township.
Yes. How?
Again, it goes back to time blocking and being organized. And literally, we have checklists for everything. My kids even have checklists. Like, before we pack for vacation, here's your checklist that I save on my phone, just so we don't forget anything. But it truly is about being organized and time blocking. I mean, I even time block for my kids. If there's a volleyball game, my customers don't need to know that I'm at a kid's volleyball game. They just need to know that I have a meeting, and I'll call you back when I'm done.
Yeah. So how are you, and there is so much power in what you're sharing right there, and it seems, kind of like a dry and boring subject when you just talk about time blocking, but, myself, I struggled with that for years and years and years, and just kind of going about the day randomly, and you've got your appointments, but every successful person I know that is a very high achiever, they have to time block because there's too much stuff going on in one's life. And you just mentioned all of it. And it frustrates me to hear from people that, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that, I don't have time for this. Because we all have the same 24 hours in a day, right? Everybody has that one equaling factor right there. And what you choose to do with it is what determines what you get, what result you're going to get.
Right.
So walk me through, how do you structure that day? Is it you sit down on Sundays and you say, all right, here's all the the three main things I want to get done, and here's how I'm going to fit that into my calendar? Or is it pretty consistent week over week?
It's consistent.
Is it?
Yeah, week over week. So, and again, like posting on LinkedIn, I have that on my calendar for 10 a.m. every day. So, and then I block off 2 to 3 p.m. every day for returning voicemails. So that way I can meet with my customers, I can meet with my realtors, and then when I'm done, I literally spend an hour. I don't look at my computer, and I spend an hour doing nothing but returning voicemails. And I do that again between 6 and 7 every day.
I think that would be something that would surprise a lot of people, that what you just said there is that you still meet with your customers.
Oh, yeah.
300 plus loans a year. Guys, there's 364 days in a year.
Yeah.
That's and we just heard about a full calendar. So no excuses, right?
No.
There's no excuses out there to go out and do it and still have that personal touch and still be able to give that kind of service. So one question I had is let's talk about 2020. What's coming up? What's new for Angie? What's the horizon look like?
I'm not even sure. We haven't even sat down to do a business plan yet. But I know it's going to be amazing. I mean, since coming to Fairway, like, our business has just exploded, which has been awesome. And I think, with all the programs and stuff that we offer, and so we're just going to keep growing. That's my plan for now.
I want to take that and just kind of dive one step deeper with that. You just mentioned that, you recently in the last year or so made a switch to another company. And I know that's something that a lot of people maybe struggle with. I know when I made a switch, a couple years ago, I mean, it was excruciating to make that change. That was kind of my home. But I knew that in order to get somewhere I wanted to be, I had to put myself around some new people.
Correct.
And what are the things that you look for when you're surrounding yourself with the right people? What are the qualities of the team that you're looking for? What are the ways that you're looking to learn? I guess kind of unbox that decision-making process for us, because I think there's a lot of people could benefit from maybe positioning themselves with the right people to help get where they want to be.
Right. And so a big thing for me with Fairway was the family orientation. Like, they are very family-focused. You always put your family first, and that's a big thing for me, especially with my kids. But then also finding people like Austin that are like-minded, that we can bounce ideas off of each other. I've never been around anyone like Austin. His brain is just amazing. And so the way that he works, I have learned a lot from him this year. and how to grow my business.
I'll write you the check after this. No, to be very honest, and it's been the same for me, and we won't dive into that a ton, but I mean, it's Ryan, you and I have talked about that, right? When you surround yourself with really like-minded people that are just driven and focused, it makes you go harder, it makes you go better, it makes you get out of your comfort zone, and that's really, really where it's at.
Because you want to keep up with those people. You don't want to be the one like, I couldn't get to it this. No, it's like, because you want to go, and I don't know about you, but I mean, I find myself, I get infinitely more motivated to go help somebody else or go do something with somebody else than I ever do by myself.
Oh, for sure.
And being able to be a part of a group of people that are all, and it doesn't have to be a large one, it doesn't have to be 40, office of 40 people. All it takes is one new person in your life to absolutely change everything. And it sounds like you really stumbled across an awesome step there.
Yes, definitely.
Talk about coaching, right?
Right.
So this is something that you've been involved in for a little while now, and tell us about how that's changed your personal life and your business life. And it's a subject we've talked about a lot on this show. And so tell us about your coaching experience.
Carrie's been awesome. She had, and that again comes from Austin. He signed me up for it, and I was like, "What do you mean a coach? I didn't know I needed a coach. I've been doing just fine." But she really has. She's helped me, and whenever I feel like I'm about to lose my mind, I call her, and she's like, "Well, let's back up the bus a little bit." and we always have a plan. Like, she's like, "Hey, I want you to implement this next month." And then when we follow up the next month or in 2 weeks, she's like, "Hey, did you implement that? How's it going?" And so it's just nice to have another mentor and somebody helping me out with that stuff.
So you're somebody, and again, just to take a step back here, to reframe this for everybody, you're closing at that point well over 200 loans a year, more probably.
Easily, yeah.
And so many people that I know that are in that position, like, I don't need any help, I got this, and they turn their back on opportunities to help. Yeah. Whereas it sounds like you just embraced that, and again, it almost doubled your business again this year, right?
It really did. And again, that goes back to having awesome management. Austin was like, "Just try it. We're going to let you try it and see how it goes." And I'm like, thank God I tried it, because it's awesome.
I love that. Yeah. That's fantastic. So just being, as far into your career as you were, you still were open to doing something new, and it paid dividends already.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I love that. What else is, kind of wrapping this one up here, Angie, but is there anything kind of keeping you up at night? Is there anything like, oh my gosh, I wish I could tell the world this, or, I really want to solve this problem over there? Kind of walk us through that a little bit. What's really driving you to take those next steps?
Besides waking up and thinking, oh my God, I forgot to order that appraisal yesterday. I mean, who hasn't done that, right? Really, just, again, it goes back to like my kids. Like, this world is a little broken, but to show them where I came from a trailer park, and to where I'm at now, and growing up with a single mom, like, look what you can do.
That's inspiring.
Yeah. That's we've had that conversation a ton. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things about you, for sure. Last question. Okay. Someone out there is listening to the show right now, and they're thinking about getting into the lending industry. Give them some advice. What are you going to tell them? What are you going to leave our audience with right now?
Don't do it. Just kidding. No, really, if you are going to join this industry, you need to join a team to start out with, and a strong team, so that way you can be mentored. Start on the ground level. That's what I did. I mean, I was an administrative assistant. I processed loans. I was an underwriter. I was a closer. I was a sales assistant for 20 loan officers, and then I got into originating. So I have literally done it all, but I appreciate all of the people that are on my team, my processor, my assistants, that much more, because I've done their job and I understand that. So I would say literally start at the ground level and work your way up.
I think that's, again, so many people want to skip the first 5 steps because they're not as glamorous or sexy, and you don't get to go do as many golf outings when you're processing loans, right? But it taught you all of the crucial skills that it takes to get a file from A to Z, or help a client get, from that initial application to closing on their house in a streamlined and positive way, where it leaves a good feeling in their mouth, because now you can communicate with everybody at their level. Right. You've done that job. You know what the challenges are that they face, and you can communicate with them where they are. Right. And there's no doubt in my mind that that's one reason why you're as successful as you are, and you'll continue to be, because you've done it all. Yeah. You didn't skip any steps. No. You did it all the right way the first time, and I love that about your story, Angie. Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me at all that you were a loan officer assistant for 20 people. I mean, right now we struggle with having someone like 3, right? That doesn't surprise me at all that you had 20.
And that was back in the day when we were, closing 200 streamlined refinances at one in a week.
Right. Well, I got to tell you, it's been a blast. I'm so thankful that we've built our relationship over the past year, and that you came on here and did this with us. So I'm really, really thankful to have you here.
No, thank you for having me.
We appreciate it, Angie. And so if anybody wants to get a hold of you, they have questions about the lending industry, or maybe they need a loan themselves, how can people connect with you, Angie?
Cell phone, email, Facebook, Instagram.
All the socials, you're
all
there.
All the socials. And,
Snapchat.
And for those that are listening to this, you can actually watch the video too, and all her contact information will be on there too.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Real Stories of Success. Again, I'm Ryan Herget. Be sure to hit that bell, like, comment, subscribe, share everything that you do on social media platforms. Please go ahead and do that. We would love any input that you have. If you have any questions for Angie or Austin or I, we'd love the opportunity to help out. That's it for this episode, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.